Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm a little tall. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kobold Chats. My name is Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. And it's Friday, the end of our week, middle of our day. Maybe you're out doing lunch. Maybe you're just at home hanging out. Maybe you took the week off. Understandable. This is just going to be just like every other week, taking some time to talk Kobold Press stuff. And just, having a nice, a brief respite from everything happening in the world. So, my brain blanked out almost immediately for some reason. We don't actually, it's kind of a slow week for us. We're moving into the holiday season, which things will then get very busy very quickly. But for right now, we're just kind of in this moment. Hey, Sada. Yeah, hello. Hope you're well as well. Thanks for joining us. I've just got a few things to go over. We're going to go over the blog again, as always, because, hey, plenty of stuff on the blog. And I actually, I particularly like today's blog, The Hungry Undead. So we'll be taking a look at that. And then also, I'm going to be going through the Building a Kingdom section of the Campaign Builder Castles and Crowns. And then we're going to build a kingdom together because I think that'll be fun. So yeah, I kind of ran down what we're going to do today, but hey, Jiro. Hey, I hate that. Whoa. You weren't ready to see that one yet. Because Jiro's got to tell us what we're doing today. First and foremost, TOV is on Fantasy Grounds. Tales of the Valiant keys for Fantasy Grounds are now available on the Kobold Press store, and I assume also over on the Fantasy Grounds website as well, so you can go get those. I'm just gonna toss in. Do we start? I'm gonna see the maps. Oh, I guess. Oh man. Do I have the map folio JPEGs? I don't know if I have them downloaded already. I would have to download them, but that's definitely a thing I could do for next time. So thank you for pinging that. I will do that. No, wait, what did I do? No. Wait, hold on. That's just strange. Okay, cool. There we go. Bam. So, you can head on over to the Kobold Press store, and you can get the VTT keys for Tales of the Valiant, both the Player's Guide and the Monster Vault over on Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds is a tabletop I haven't actually used yet, so maybe I'll also do a future chats. I'll check out Fantasy Grounds, because knowing the tools that are available to me is helpful. So my campaign is on Midgard's Morgau at the moment, so this is ooh, that's fun. Or that's Morgau? EAUX would be O. Morgau, That's the fun thing about, a lot of fantasy stuff. Who knows how to pronounce anything? Who knows? We're just making up words. We're putting letters together and they make sounds, and we, I guess, have to figure out together what all of those things are going to mean. So, yeah, you can, those are the keys for Fantasy Grounds. Go check those out. Now, the real meat and potatoes here. No, I guess this is more like an appetizer for what we will be doing today. And that's looking over the Hungry Undead. The Hungry Undead series, a series of articles over on the Kobold Press blog. You know how much I love the blog. It just is what it is. The Hungry Undead series is kind of reimagining some of our undead creatures and giving them this kind of sense of this hunger, right? They were undead, and there is something that is pushing them, something that is driving them to in this second life, something that gives them a sense of purpose. And for many undead, that is their hunger, this desire. So, Hungry Undead beat swords into smaller swords. I put the link to this in the chat so you can follow along if you want. The undead were once living creatures, returned to a horrific second life. Undead can be created through necromantic spells, profane curses, or even sometimes through divine decree. Such creatures are rarely bothered by the needs of Such creatures are rarely bothered by the needs of their former life, instead craving something unique to their new form. The Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault has 23 undead in its arsenal to pair with a multitude of monsters ready for conversion from the Creature Codex and Tome of Beasts 1 through 3. All these monsters are more narratively interesting and tactically dynamic than their counterparts in similar games. So, and by narratively interesting, usually what we mean, like the mechanics of the creature help enforce the fantasy that you are trying to immerse your players in at the table, right? They're not just like, there's obviously like some of that is going to be up to your description and the way you play them out, but having the mechanics back up that fantasy is such an, like, it re-engages the players into the narrative of what the creature is and what they want, in a way that I think is fun, because when the mechanics back up the fantasy, then you're not just having to do all the heavy lifting by yourself. You're not having to try to always put in like 1,000% to try to like make sure that you remember to describe a creature in a certain way, or like that it scales, or like that it has like a certain like if it's a thing where it has like a fire aura or something, like where it has like a heat where if you're within 5 feet you take some kind of fire damage or something like that. That mechanic reinforces the fantasy of, oh, this is a large fire breathing thing or something, or tied to elemental fire or something of that nature. So it's just cool and it's just good. Let me take a drink of my legally required Baja Blast. Amazing. Okay. The need to feed. While the lore of many undead speak to certain cravings, there are a few mechanical implications for their hunger. By adding game mechanics to these undead, the Tales of the Valiant framework offers more nuanced foes to challenge the players, but all the more so to tell more interesting tales for their valiant heroes. Ossified Bones, Fractured Arms. Ripped from the pages of Tome of Beasts 2, the swordbreaker skeleton puts fear in the hearts of all who faced it by wielding metal or wooden piercings or slashing weapons. Its bones are fossilized in stony. Weapons shatter against it thanks to its fossilized bones trait. In many ways, this monster is a mixture of a skeleton and a rust monster. Hey Hawkeye, hey Jason, welcome in. We're just looking over the Hungry Undead blog. That came out today over on the Kobold Press blog. Go check it out. The fossilization process is painful for the swordbreaker skeleton, who hungers for weapons to be destroyed upon its frame to justify the difficult transmogrification. It takes joy in breaking weapons, but it can temporarily lose its special nature until it experiences the joy of destroying a weapon. Love the idea of an undead creature whose whole deal is like, I just want to break things. That's what makes me feel good, breaking stuff. Okay, so we have 3 different variants of the swordbreaker, and I did look through the mechanics of this, so I do understand how all these are tied together. Trust me, we will get to these other 2. But starting off with the swordbreaker, this version of a swordbreaker skeleton is the swordbreaker template applied to the scout NPC from the appendix of the Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault. So, hey, the templates are so good. The templates are so good. You can find templates, I believe, in the Monster Vault, but also in the Game Master's Guide. And these templates allow you to take one creature and turn it into something more akin to a different kind of creature. This can be making things void versions of themselves, or making them skeleton versions of themselves, or making them swordbreaker versions of themselves. So, let's take a look. Okay. The Swordbreaker Skeleton, Scout, CR1, medium undead, has an AC of 13, hit points at 25, a speed of 30, a perception of 9, and a stealth of 16. It is vulnerable to thunder damage, resistant. It has its undead resilience, which gives it immunity to poison damage, exhaustion, and to the petrified and poisoned conditions. It's also resistant to piercing and slashing damage. So those are the resistance and immunities there. It's got 60 feet of dark vision, and it understands languages it knew in life, but it cannot speak. Why? Because it doesn't have vocal cords. It is a skeleton. Unless you did a weird kind of skeleton that still has some flesh with it. Not quite zombie, because it's not like coating it, and like it's very different. It's just still got some sinew and muscle fibers and stuff. That'd be cool. God, I love horror. Okay, strength 0, dex +2, con +1, int -2, wiz -1, and charisma -3. It's got fossilized bones. Any non-magical slashing or piercing weapon made of metal or wood that hits the swordbreaker skeleton cracks. After dealing damage, the weapon takes a permanent and cumulative -1 penalty to damage rolls. If its penalty drops to -5, the weapon is destroyed. Non-magical ammunition made of metal or wood that hits the swordbreaker skeleton is destroyed after dealing damage. It's got a hunger for swords. Immediately after destroying a weapon using its fossilized bones ability, a swordbreaker skeleton gains 10 temporary hit points. 10 minutes after destroying a weapon, it transforms into a champion swordbreaker, which is the sated version. And it transforms, 10 minutes after destroying a weapon, it transforms into a champion swordbreaker skeleton for 1 month, reverting to a regular swordbreaker skeleton after that time. If the skeleton hasn't broken a weapon using this ability in at least 1 year, it turns into a sword craver skeleton, the hungry version, until it destroys a weapon using its fossilized bones feature. I like a variable creature, a creature that changes based on the things that it has done, and a creature that is just like, yeah, it changes, and your characters interacting with it can help that change, right? Your characters can be the reason why a swordbreaker goes to a sated swordbreaker if it survives that encounter. They could be encountering a hungry swordbreaker because it's been longer than a year since anyone's been in this dungeon or something of that nature. Just kind of transforming monsters that have different forms. It's like the multiple forms of monsters being cool when it hits form too. Though I guess I'm super interested in how. Never mind. Oh, well, I was going to say, I'm interested in what kind of combat scenario you would need for this creature to fight someone, trigger its hungry for swords ability, and then also live through the rest of that encounter to be a thing to encounter in the future. Or it could be that they are encountering a sated swordbreaker because someone else has been here recently and had their weapons broken. Both are possible. Okay. It's got thunder vulnerability, and its undead nature means it doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep. Undead resilience, we already talked about that. So we can move on. It's got multi-attack. 2 short sword or short bow attacks. Short sword +4 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1d6 +2 piercing, and then 1d6, and basically the same thing for the short bow, but at a range of 80 to 320 feet. It does have a bonus action, which I love in a creature, which means that for a bonus action, it can take the dash or disengage action, and that's coming from the scout portion of this creature, I believe, which is great. Love creatures with bonus actions. Let's even up that action and economy. Am I right, gang? All right. Now, this is the hungry swordbreaker. The necromantic energies that ossify the swordbreaker skeleton demand a sacrifice of weapons upon its bony frame. A failure to renew these sacrifices causes the swordbreaker skeleton to crave battle, depriving it of better judgment and many of its abilities. Ooh. Oh, hungry swordbreakers are only half a CR. That's interesting. Okay, so wait, how are they weaker? Their AC is the same, hit points are 25, speed, like all of this is the same. Their stats stay the same. Wait. Sorry, I'm just going back and forth to see. Because this is changing for some reason. But I can't tell why. Oh, because of the because of the size of the word swordcraver. Duh. Okay, cool. So, any non-magical slashing or piercing weapon made of metal or wood that hits the swordcraver skeleton cracks. After dealing damage, the weapon takes a permanent and cumulative -1 penalty to damage rolls. If it drops to -5, the weapon is destroyed. This is the same as the normal. Hunger for swords. It immediately, after destroying a weapon, uses its fossilized bones. Using its fossilized bones ability, a swordcraver skeleton gains 10 temporary hit points. And 10 minutes after destroying a weapon, it transforms into the champion swordbreaker skeleton, which is the sated swordbreaker. And turns to that for 1 month, reverting to a normal swordbreaker skeleton after that time. So there's this kind of transition from hungry swordbreaker to sated swordbreaker to swordbreaker to hungry swordbreaker, which is, I think, like a fun little loop. And I like the hungry swordbreaker skeletons feel way more like creatures you would find in a dungeon. You know, they're only half a CR. You're like, oh, these are just some things. And then boom, you start hitting them and it's like, whoa, hold on. That shouldn't be like that. Why is my weapon dealing less damage? And then all of a sudden, and like imagining like mid-fight, like what? This only has 25 hit points. So they're going at it, like boom, boom, boom. It's taking a couple of hits, and then a weapon gets destroyed, and then it immediately gets 10 temporary hit points. That's like such a, just even like a fun twist. Like I would almost want to always be using swordcraver skeleton, like this swordbreaker skeleton, over regular skeletons, because I think that this is just a way more interesting creature to have to fight. Yeah, I don't see a reason why I would ever want to use a regular skeleton over a swordbreaker skeleton. I mean, other than like maybe the sword, like having the swordbreaker skeletons be very special, right? But also, this is just a cool mechanic. I kind of like this NPC class is going to see a massive overuse. Like, it's gonna, yeah, it's just good. It's just really good. Props to Benjamin Eastman for making this one. Great job. Amazing. And then, yeah, everything else here is the same, right? It's got a short sword, it's got a short bow, doesn't have multi-attack, and it doesn't have its bonus action, which does make it a little bit easier for people to have to deal with at lower levels. And then we have the sated swordbreaker. After destroying a weapon with its fossilized bones ability, the swordbreaker skeleton is infused with a certainty of purpose. As a result, its AC increases, and it becomes harder to destroy because of its increased hit points and lack of thunder vulnerability. Champion swordbreaker, armor class of 15. Its bones, hard. Hit points, 35. It gained 10 of those. Speed is the same. Perception and stealth is the same. It's, you know, it's got all its resistances and immunities. It doesn't have vulnerability, which does make it a little better. I think the stats here are the same. Yeah, strength of 0, dex of 2, con 1, int -2, wiz -1, charisma -3. It's got the same fossilized bones ability, but it doesn't have the hunger for swords, which is cool. Oh wait, something I missed. The swordcraver skeleton has heatless attack. The swordcraver skeleton has advantage on all melee weapon attack rolls, but attack rolls against it also have advantage. So it's got the barbarian like reckless attack. Of course, hey, thanks for stopping by. It's got the barbarian reckless attack, which is super cool. Super cool. Love that. Okay, this would be the reason why I would maybe only use it in certain circumstances. Because of this heatless attack, I think that makes it a really interesting creature to throw at like a lower level party who may just be expecting skeletons. And like this makes me almost think of the the skeletons in like Dark Souls, where they take like the shambling like walk, and then the like and like just like the wild swinging, which still makes it like kind of scary to go against. But yeah, oh, that's cool. I didn't even notice that. And then so the sated swordbreaker, it doesn't have a need for all that extra stuff. It doesn't need the heedless attack. It doesn't need that. But it does get the multi attack. But it makes an additional short. I don't know if this is a typo potentially, but I mean potentially not. Hold on, because yeah. No, that seems to be correct because of the way. Yeah, okay. So it either makes 3 short sword attacks or 2 short bow attacks. The short sword attacks +4, 1d6 +2, all of the same stuff, and then it gets its bonus action again, which is the dash or disengage action. Overall, I think these are 3 really fun creatures to like be able to play with, and I'm already thinking about how I want to put them into my my own home game right now, because I think it would be fun, and I don't think they'd expect it. Don't think they'd expect it at all. All right, so yeah, that's the Hungry Undead. Man, thank you, Ben Eastman. This is a cool creature. I'm gonna bookmark this for my own personal use. Where is it? Oh, whatever. Okay, dope. Amazing. So, last but certainly not least, I said that we are going to build a kingdom using castles and crowns. The newest entry of the Campaign Builder series, if you didn't already know. Which, if you didn't, hey, that's okay. I'm telling you right now. So, Campaign Builder, Castles and Crowns provides a majestic home building a kingdom. Nice. Provides a majestic homebrew toolkit for your tabletop game. Create legendary rulers, mythic kingdoms, opulent palaces, and imposing fortresses, down to the last detail, with a host of tables and guides to enhance your world. This is how you make kingdom-sized games. This is how you make, I love politics in my games. I love the fighting for the crown, or the fighting for power, factional intrigue, things of that nature. And so this book was made for me. And to even dive further into how much I want to use this book in my this is gonna I'm thinking about my home game. There's a lot I can use from this. In fact, maybe the thing that we're about to do right now will be a thing I put in my home game. Yeah, no, that's a thing that I'm making true. You all are going to be here for this, so you can see what terrible things are going to show up in my home game. Castles and Crowns maps were excellent. The castle's absolutely getting used. Love to hear it. Yeah, no, I'll definitely next time I'm on, I'll have the JPEGs of those just so we can look through them. Thing that I was doing. Yes. Okay. Cool. So let's look at building a kingdom. We're just gonna read this here really quick. Okay. The heroes and NPCs are now in hand and ready for action. Plus, the castles and other setting pieces, and even some magic. The only thing missing are the lands that they can call home. One or more kingdoms to serve as a backdrop for adventure, and this requires details about the region, such as size, geography, climate, and population, but also its peoples and their cultures. Their views on magic and religion, and their politics, of course, and those that make the decisions that affect everyone, whether a benevolent monarch, tyrannical dictator, or elected representatives. Within this chapter are guidelines, descriptions, and random tables designed to make it easy to build fantasy kingdoms and the powerful personalities who govern them. So, you'll see over here, I've started a document. And on this document, this is how we are going to put together, what this kingdom is. You can see the different things here. I already kind of went through the chapter to see what parts of this there are going to be. We'll read the descriptions. We're going to roll on the tables and start putting them in here. Now, and I don't know which one this is going to be. I have no clue. Whatever this is going to be a thing I put in my game. I'll just figure out how to make it work, which is easy because, yeah, it's easy. So let's do it. So, the heroes and NPC, I already did this part. Okay, cool. Building a kingdom. So the first thing that we've got to do is figure out the kingdom type. I've got my dice over here. What? Oh no. I dropped my percentile die. I got it. Okay, cool. My blue eyes. Okay, so we've got here. We've got the dice, D100. So we're going to see the kingdom type here. What is, let's see, what is the kingdom type? To begin, roll 1d100 and consult the kingdom type table or choose the type of kingdom to build. Note that a dwarven kingdom, for example, doesn't mean that the entire population is made up of dwarves, but they are the most numerous of peoples in the kingdom and have the greatest influence on its overall culture. Here we go. That's a 60. What's 60? Siderian? Oh. Okay. Kingdom type, Siderian. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Lots to think about there. Don't know what that means yet, but because Siderian comes with currently 2 options, right? Siderians come in the celestial and the fiendish versions of them. God. Okay. Already getting kind of wild here. Love it. Okay, kingdom size. Next. Decide on the size of the kingdom. Is it small, measuring only 100 miles across or so? Or is it a huge empire encompassing vast swaths of territory? We'll roll 1d20 and consult the kingdom size table or choose something that feels appropriate. So where is this size table? Huh? Where's the size table? Wait, huh? Where is the size table? That's the population. Oh, kingdom size. There it is. Oh, it was above it. I'm so silly. I don't know how I missed that. That's so funny. Okay. Kingdom size table. Roll 1d20. 12. Okay, 12. Which means it is medium size. It's 200 to 500 miles across. Okay, interesting. Okay. Thinking, percolating. Okay. Next is climate. Determine where in the campaign world the kingdom is situated and what kind of climate it has. Is it located in the frozen north or high in the mountains or buried in the sweltering tropics? Roll 1d20 and consult the climate table or choose something appropriate. Cold climate zones endure wintry conditions all year round, with average temperatures remaining below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold areas include both polar regions and high altitude mountain regions. Temperate areas have both warm and cold seasons. Winters are longer in cool temperature regions, in cool temperate regions, with temperatures dropping to below 32 degrees in the coldest months. Warm temperate regions have a subtropical or Mediterranean-like climate and enjoy longer summers. Arid climate zones are dry deserts or steppes where what little rainfall they receive swiftly evaporates. Tropical climate zones have an average temperature of 64 degrees or higher every month of the year and experience significant rainfall. Okay, so let's figure out what is the climate. We're rolling 1d20. We have an 8, which makes it a cool temperate. Ooh, okay. That feels right, I think, to the kind of landscape that I'm imagining in the game. Cold temperate climate zones. Let's see. What was this? Temperate have both warm and cold seasons. So winters are longer and cool temperate. Oh, so this is like, we're thinking like Canada, Ireland, like like upper northern hemisphere, not quite polar, but also, yeah. Okay, cool. Love it. Next, our geographical features. Determine a kingdom's major geographical features, starting with the coastlines, if any, and large bodies of water. Roll 1d20 and consult the coastlines table, or choose something appropriate. Okay. Rolling 1d20. That is an 11, meaning it has multiple coastlines. Okay, interesting. So this is something that is either close, like a kingdom that is built like closer to the coastline, so rather than just like or like spreads wide enough so that it can have a coastline on either end of whatever it is. It's not an island, right? Which means it isn't completely surrounded by water. It isn't just on the edge of a continental body because it has more than one coastline. So it either spreads across, but not like up or down enough to make those coastlines be a singular coastline. And or, depending on the type of kingdom it is, it might embody multiple places while not being fully connected physically, if that makes sense. In the way of like colonies or like a confederacy or like a coalition of states. Okay, interesting. Cool. So it's got multiple coastlines. Then determine the predominant terrain types for the kingdom by choosing or rolling 1d3 times on the terrain types table. One or more types can also be combined, such as forested hills or marshy grassland moors. Okay. So we're going to roll 1d3 times. So we're just going to take a 1d6, divide that by 2. That's a 5. Dividing by 2, rolling down, rounding down, making that. We're going to roll 2 times on the terrain types table. We are in a temperate area, so we're rolling 1d10 twice. So I'll just roll both of these. That is a 10 and a 9. Hold on, let me, before I look at that, terrain types. Okay. The terrain types here are a 10 and a 9. Marsh, swamps, and mountains. Oh. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Huh. Okay. So we've got a cool temperate area that has a marsh, swamps and mountains. So it being cool temperate makes me think, and potential, and having a marsh and swamps means that it probably does get a decent bit of rain. Welcome to the moors. Yeah, like it gets a decent bit of rain. It's got to be potentially either heavily covered or like typically cloudy for a lot of this water not to evaporate, and it would also keep it generally kind of cool. So we are kind of looking at like a bit of like, I think like an England, like a UK kind of area area. um Fascinating. Okay. Cool. I'm still trying to think about like the kind of Siderians these are as well. Um, for them to fit in my world. There's like having a fiendish Siderian kingdom could be really interesting. So like a general thing about my world is like a post-apocalyptic world where a great flood has happened that flooded the world, so on and so forth. Um, and various communities either were born out of or survived through this flooding. And since the waters have receded, now people are going like moving out of their isolated communities back into the lands, and like intermune. It's like been like 300 years since people have like gone back and have started to rebuild versions of society. And like there, I'm super interested in what it looks like for there to be this fiendish Siderian community turned like kingdom. I think the kingdom size doesn't, I don't know how I feel about the medium, like it being like 200 to 500 miles across. That seems a little large for things in my world because there aren't like they're mostly like a lot of city states. So honestly, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make kingdom size tiny because that I think that just makes more sense for my world. Temperate marsh mountains make me think, ooh, Appalachian bogs, also really good. That's really good. And because people want their moors marsh, very few people want to go to their perfect place for fiends to gather. Yeah. Yeah. I like this smaller kingdom. I'm thinking like it's like, and kingdom is like a word, right? Like I don't think it's like a kingdom with like multiple settlements, just because that's not a like the first empire within this area is starting to like build momentum. Like so I think I don't I'm okay with this being like a couple of communities that have tied themselves together and maybe are uniting themselves as a kingdom in order to begin to push back against this other growing empire. Yeah, like a city state kind of thing is kind of what I'm thinking of. Um, Maybe several communities that are beginning to band together in order to fight back against this other empire, which I think is also really cool because I do need more factions that are like in opposition to this empire, that are like, hey, stop. And them being fiends also makes a lot of sense because the empire is like this very Catholic Church coded, like the Holy Marvellian Empire, like kind of very British. Very not British because the British were Protestants, but you get my meaning. Um like the Spanish crown even more. Okay. Yeah. I'm liking this. Appalachian, I'm keeping that in mind because that's really cool. A kind of especially if the towns joining together don't trust each other but join together out of yeah, absolutely. Um Okay, cool. I'm saying so. I'm gonna go ahead and say fiendish Siderians because I think that is more interesting to me than celestial Siderians, especially because of the vibe of the empire that this is potentially in opposition to. Okay, cool. See, bam. Ugh, world building is so much fun, isn't it? Um. Okay. Cool. Drawing a map. We're not drawing a map right now. Okay, let's look at population. So, was there anything on the other page I should read? Yeah. To work out how many inhabitants the kingdom has, its area in square miles needs to first be calculated. Use the map scale to measure the distance in miles across the kingdom from north to south and east to west, and then multiply the two figures to figure out the approximate area. If the kingdom is in a irregular shape and spread across a series of islands, measure the whole map. I don't have a map. I'm going to be honest about that. I just don't. But this will be I mean, if we're looking at, like, for this, I might not even just roll. Let's just use the information that we already have, right? This is going to be like a city-state, or like a coalition of smaller communities that are banding together to create a kingdom in order to best fight against. So I'm thinking, because it's not like a bunch of people, right? Or like a bunch of space, chances are its population density is somewhere from like moderate to high, because it's like just like a city or like several things. So we're just going to go ahead and say population. And I don't even know how like useful this information is going to be for me, but hey, is moderate to high, making it 75 to 100 persons per square mile. Okay, cool. So, demographics. The predominant lineages indicated by the kingdom type chosen at the start, human, dwarf, elf, and so on, typically account for 50% or more of the total population. Okay, cool. Things that we know about this population. Sorry, I'm just typing things into my Google. Oh, wait, I can show you the Google Doc. What am I doing? I can show you what I'm typing. So we're saying 50% are fiendish Siderians. Super interested in knowing what their story is about, like how their like origin story of like, hey, how did we survive the flood, or how did we come about in the flood, so on and so forth. That'll be interesting. In most kingdoms, there are another 1d4 plus 1 prominent lineages living there that make up the bulk of the remaining population. Roll 1d100 and consult the prominent lineage tables, or choose who they are. If the same lineage is rolled twice, or the already predominant lineage is rolled, either increase the percentage of the total population attributed to that lineage by 10%, or decide that the second group belongs to a distinct yet somehow related subgroup. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, cool. So we've got 1d4 plus 1 prominent lineage. So bare minimum, there are going to be 2 other prominent lineages. But let's just see. We're rolling 1d4. Hey, that's a 4. So there are 5. There are 5 people, 5 distinct lineages packed into all of this. Amazing. So that's going to be 10% for each for right now. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. No, I was correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Okay. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is going to be interesting. So let's see. What are the prominent lineages in the city-state and or communities? Yeah. Okay. 29. 29. Elf. Okay. That's, fair. Elf. Haven't decided what kind of elf, but we'll see. 17. Which is Dragonborn. Ooh. Okay. 10, 83. What's 83? Pixies? Whoa, this is a very interesting group of people. This is a very interesting group of people. $34. Arena? What is the arena? What? Tome of Heroes. Hold on. Well, now I've got to open Tome of Heroes to see who these people are. And I may or may not keep them based on, because I'm unfamiliar with them. Hold on, I have Tome of Heroes somewhere here. Tome of Heroes. All right, let's the arena. Okay. Huh? Are these hedgehog folk? Oh my god. This is so good. What? There are hedgehog people? This is getting eclectic very quickly. No, for real. Okay, the enigmatic hedgehog folk trace their history back to the beginning of the world, further back than elves can trace, to the first groves and wild grasslands, to those green places between the elemental poles that birthed all that is, or so the arena druids like to claim. The arena are a small statured race of creatures resembling bipedal hedgehogs. They often escape the notice of the powerful rulers of the land, though anyone traveling through the wilds would do well to have them as allies. Arena are highly intelligent species whose natural curiosity and cunning serve them well. They are always probing around the limits of their territory and keep a careful record of their environment. Arenas seem supernaturally aware of their surroundings and have a keen eye for things that are out of place or novel. Hedgehogs and Dragonborn and Fae, oh my. Yeah, no, this is a wild collection of people. Don't forget the pixies. We can't forget that there are also pixies here. This is making me think that this place is somehow kind of attached to the Fae, almost. And like, there's like, right, because we have pixies, we have elves, we have these hedgehog people. I mean, even the Dragonborns, I can like make like Fae Dragonborn. Like, that's interesting. Almost kind of like pseudo dragons are Fae, I believe. So pseudo Dragonborn. Wait, a pseudo variant of the pseudo of Dragonborn is actually really interesting, in my personal opinion. Okay. Lots to think about. Okay, so we're having the arena. We're calling them the arena. I am going to basically make like their hedgehog beast folk. And I'm also putting a note here that these are Fae, like pseudo Dragonborn. I think that's interesting. Okay. Ooh, this is super. And like, even the fiendish, like, I mean, what if they're Fae Siderians? Or fiend, like, there's something I think interesting about them still presenting as very fiendish, but being like unseelie Fae, you know? That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Also, we've got one more major lineage to put in here. Oh, okay. One more roll. We got a 52. Goblins! Oh. I love this. I love these people. I love this city-state. Whatever this is going to be so wild. These Appalachian Fae Goblins and oh my gosh. Are there fey goblin? Like, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of. There's a goblin, a goblinoid that is fey. I can't think of what they're called though. Off the top of my head. But I can also just make fey goblins. That's fine. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. These are people maybe who were from this world. They were originally from this world. As the flood was happening, maybe they made some kind of pact. Maybe they, made some kind of pact with the Fae and were like, for X amount of years, we're going to bring your home, bring your people into the Fae. And for however long the flood was, they were in the Fae. And then contract ended. And it's like, okay, we're sending you back. Boom, exactly where you were before. And it's like, it's after the waters. The flood has receded. And now they'll have to probably like do a lot of like relearning of their history, relearning of how to be with the land. Also, there's probably like some kind of animosity towards like the people had been there like for like so long, like generations had passed, and so there are people there who's like, that was my home. Why did I get sent back? I don't want to be sent back. I want to be like, I wanted to. That was my home. And like, there's a lot of, I think, generational trauma in that, of like the always knowing that the Fae is temporary and ephemeral, and we will go home eventually. But also, hey, we didn't make that deal. I didn't ask for that. Why am I brought into that? That's interesting. I like that. When I was using Castles and Crowns to make my world with Dragonborn populations, I also rolled a D100 for each type of Dragonborn included, and then divided them by the sum to get the percentage of the Dragonborn population represented by each color of Dragonborn. I think that's cool. I kind of like that. I think I'll figure out the Dragonborn thing, but that's a good way to do it, I think. And we had to suffer through the flood. Why do you think you can come back here now that we've done all the repair work? Yeah, that's also a very interesting thing. And I don't think that like there may be some people, right, who have this like sense of like ownership of like, hey, we used to be here, we left, and now we're back, right? And like there's like, okay, time to make a name for ourselves again. And it's like, well, where were you? Where were you for 300 years? Why do you just get to come back? Yeah, no, there's something interesting here. There's something really, really interesting here, I think. Okay. Cool. So, we have our populations, our demographics. Demographics. Okay, cool. All right, we've already done all of that. Okay, government. Having determined who lives in the kingdom, the next step is to decide who rules and how they do it. The sample kingdoms in this chapter each have a single ruler, but a kingdom could be ruled by a triumvirate or a council of elders or some other group. Roll 1d100 on the government types table, or choose the kingdom's system of government. Note that there could be overlap between some of those forms of government, such as the ruling oligarchs might also be nobles or wealthy merchants, or the queen of the realm might be a tyrant who seeks to embezzle as much gold as possible from her downtrodden subjects. Once the system of government is determined, see the designing a ruler to create the NPC or NPCs in charge of the kingdom. All right, let's go to the type of government. We've got a 1d100. This is going to be interesting. 89. A satrapy? Governors on behalf of a king or emperor. Oh. Okay. Huh. governors on behalf of the king or emperor. Okay. Interesting. There's some different ways to go about this, I think, right? First thought is that as a part of the contract, when they were sent back, maybe the Fae were like, okay, we're going to do this, but when you go back, you have to do, like, you will be our people in the world now. Like, your kingdom is our kingdom. We will protect you. We will give you magic, so on and so forth. We have changed you in ways to better prepare you for this new world. But you now do what we need in the world. And what do those Fae need in the mortal realm? Why do they need a kingdom in the mortal realm? Who's to say? But the elements are sent back to the Fae to rule their this is interesting. This is interesting. Because now that kind of makes them like a puppet state a little bit, where it's like the Fae are like, hey, these are the things that we need you to do in the world, so on and so forth. Like, what would the Fae even want with a kingdom in the mortal realm? That's a fascinating concept. Okay. So one of the options is ruling on. Hold on. Ruling for the Fae. Or ruling on behalf of the Fae royalty they made a contract with. Other option, they have already been taken in by the Holy Marvellian Empire, and now there is, like, they came back and were like, okay, cool, we're ready to, like, be back and, like, be a part of the world and relearn our own history. And then, if they just get dropped right back to where they were before, the Empire could have already been there. No. The Empire is fairly new. So I don't think that's very likely. I think the ruling on behalf of the Fae royalty makes the most sense here. Okay, that's what we're going with. Whew. That's so interesting. Okay. Finding historical inspiration. Foremost, understanding the historical cultures represent real people, and some living today may trace their own heritage to them. This is important, and it means something to someone. So learn what you can. A modicum of research, even reading just a couple of online articles, helps you learn what those people valued and how they lived. This makes your game world livelier and less likely to fall into stereotypes. And speaking of which, go deeper than stereotypes. Don't stop at your first idea. See what other, better ideas might lie underneath with just a bit of imagination. The stereotype might be what attracts you to a culture, and that's okay, but digging deeper, you'll often find more interesting elements to build on, and that effort is automatically more respectful. Accept your naivety. Even after your best shot, your creation might still contain something ill-considered, maybe even offensive. Don't stop trying, though. Use this opportunity to learn, to admit your ignorance on the topic, and apologize if it's needed. Then try again. Great bit of advice. Very good bit of advice. Okay, State of the Nation. With the core facts established for the kingdom, the next thing to decide is the state of the nation. Is the kingdom a peaceful place where inhabitants enjoy a contented pastoral existence, or is it under threat from invasion by undead legions, or at war with its neighbors? Roll 1d20 and consult the state of the nation table, or choose something appropriate. And then culture and society. What is the kingdom best known for? What is it like to live there? What ideas, attitudes, and customs do the inhabitants share? Answering these questions will help bring the kingdom to life, turning it into a living, breathing backdrop for adventure and continuing source of inspiration. All right. So, state of the nation. Are we just rolling it once? Yeah, roll 1d20, choose something appropriate. All right. Rolling 1d20. What's the state of the nation? I rolled a 4. A peculiar new law passed by the ruler upsets some or all of the kingdom's inhabitants. That's what you get for being run by the Fae. Okay, love that. Okay, peculiar new law passed. Oh, what's a law that the Fae would put in that everyone would go, what? Why do we have to? What's the point of this? Which is, I think, a very easy thing for the Fae to do. That people are like, why are we doing this? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I like it. Okay. Major settlements. We're not gonna do all that, I don't think. But we are. Oh, custom and traits. Oh, wait, that was the. Come on, let's go back. If coming up with okay, make this roll 1d3 times, possibly gaining additional characteristics. In addition, roll once more to establish something that the kingdom lacks or is not very good at. Something that is okay. Cool. So for the for what is this? Nope. For kingdom characteristics. Yeah. Okay, cool. Kingdom characteristics. Is this a fake kingdom? I think so. I think yes. Also, hey Ryan, what's up? Yeah, I think it is. It's a kingdom ruled by the Fae from a distance. By people who were brought into the Fae to save them from this flood, and then were sent back and said, okay, now you rule in our, now we have the rules here, or whatever, love that. Okay, kingdom characteristics. Okay, sorry, no, brain had a brain blast. Okay, kingdom characteristics. We're rolling on this table 1d3 times, I believe it said. 1d3 times, gaining additional. Okay, so rolling a d6. This is my d6. Divide this by 2. Roll to 4 by 2, so we're going to get 2 characteristics. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So these are notable ones, and then I'm going to roll an additional one that's going to be my lack. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this. Characteristics, rolling 1d20. Our first characteristic is a 19. Wait, no. Yes, 19. Produces the finest armor and weapons money can buy. Ooh, okay. It's that good old Fey Appalachian blacksmithing, And then, ooh, this makes sense because I have a Dragonborn NPC that I was going to put into this world, who is a blacksmith and had these dreams of oh, I want to make the best thing or whatever. Maybe they're from here. I kind of like it. All right, 1d20. 4 has a mighty navy that rules the waves. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense for this. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think the Navy makes a lot of sense for this one. So we're rolling again. An 11 is celebrated for its exquisite cuisine and fine wines. Okay, yeah, they're from the Fae. Are there any Shadow Fae or Bright Fae lineages that may travel? Hey, that's a really interesting question. I'm thinking that these Siderians, because I'm leaning towards the fiendish bend, but also still I'm trying to find a way to mesh fiendish and a Fae Siderian, and I think Shadow Fae might be that mix. So I think it's I think there was an unseelie Fae that made this contract with everyone, which is why they're also like, now you rule in our stead. You know, cranberry wine from cranberries grown in their own bogs. Ooh, I'm writing that down. Thank you so much. That's really good. What is the thing that I say? Is celebrated for its exquisite cuisine and fine wines. Love it. Cranberry wine from cranberries in the bog. All right, and then one more 1d20, and this is going to say, what is the thing that they're lacking? I rolled a 14. Is home to some of the world's most formidable wizards. Hey, we don't got a lot of wizards here. Not a lot of wizards here. A lot of wizards or practitioners of the arcane circle. That's what I'm going to take that as. I'm going to take this as being that there is probably a lot of magic here. It is not from the arcane source of magic here. Maybe primordial. Yeah, maybe mostly primordial. Who's to say? Okay, cool. That's the things that they're lacking. We're not going to do the major settlements here. However, we are going to look at the religions. This will be the last thing we look at before we call it done. Or no, we'll go through religion, magic, trade goods, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go through these last 4 things, and then this is going to be an extra long Kobold Chats, but hey, thanks for sticking with me. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the religion. The gods and their priests might or might not be of significance in the kingdom. A typical kingdom will have one patron god and a handful of others, with a significant number of worshippers. But the kingdom might instead officially pay homage to just a single god, or might not be particularly religious at all, having no divine patron. To help determine which gods are worshipped in the kingdom, roll 1d20 and consult the Great Gods table, which features key spheres of divine influence that can be matched up to gods from any pantheon or choose something appropriate. This is the kingdom's patron, but if multiple gods are worshipped, then make this roll an additional 1d4 times or choose the portfolios of the kingdom's great gods. Okay, cool. I think whatever these gods are, these are the Fae. These are the unseelie Fae and the domains in which they have control over. Which I think is cool. Okay. Let's do this. We're going to do Great God, and then 1d20 for Great God, and then, did it say how many? 1d4 times for additional. 1d4, rolling. 4, of course. Okay. Amazing. So we've got Great God, and then minor gods. Cool. So, Great God. That's fine. I need to get through an hour less of work, so I don't mind a long chat. So true. Hey, glad to be here for you. Okay, so I rolled an 18. Which means main god here is a god who is a Fae of Thunder. Okay. Fascinating. Pan would be a good Twisted Fae god. Pan would be a good Twisted Fae god. You're so right. And then we're going to have 4 minor gods. Maybe these are all family members within the same unseelie court. You know, who's to say? Okay, so 1d20. Rolled a 1. Adventure and travel. Okay. $16. Strength. Oh. This is an interesting group of Fae, for sure. 18. Nah, we're not doing another Thunder one. 7. Healing. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Fae of Thunder. Guess who sent the floods in the first place? Honestly, there's probably some people who believe that. 20. War! What is this? Who are these Fae? These Fae of war, thunder, adventure, travel, strength, and healing? This is very interesting. This is very interesting. God. I have so much to think about. I mean, this makes the blacksmithing make a lot of sense. And then also the healing, like the mixture of like adventure, travel, and healing being like fine cuisine, fine wines, partying, carousing after battle. Oh, this is a really, really... The Bear King seems warlike. Yeah. Oh, and I like the idea of like that kind of this is so interesting. Also with the demographics, right? We have like the elves, the pixies, the goblins, the dragonborn, the hedgehog beastkin. This is like, this is making me I've so many things to think about. I like the kind of bear. Yeah, bear does seem very warlike. I'm gonna make like this like a bear fae, right? The thunder. God, there's so many. There's the Forgotten Smith and Project Chiron 2. Ooh, yeah. The strength feels like that's the blacksmithing one. Like the war one's like, yeah, we do battle and stuff, but this is the blacksmithing one. I want to say the Dragonborn maybe are like more tied to this fae of strength. Maybe the arena are tied to this one of healing. This God of Thunder, I think there's something very strong about, right? There's something very like powerful, like gods of thunder, right? We have like we have like Odin and Zeus. Sorry, God of Thunder. No, not Odin. Thor. It was like very warlike as well. Like those things are kind of tied, but I think there's also something about thunder that can be tied to fear as well, and trickery and like illusion. As far as like thunder's a thing that scares people, right? Even if you don't see lightning, you might hear thunder, and we use that also as like a way to determine like how like we use the sound of thunder to determine how far away danger might be. I think there's a lot to that might be very very like goblin-esque or elf in many ways. Maybe like a hawk beastkin for thunder. Ooh, hawk beastkin is interesting. I like that as well. Okay. It could be like a goblin hawk mix. I kind of like goblin hawk mix. And then adventure and travel, we have our pixies, we have our elves, and then our Siderians, which I think were potentially like just regular people who were just like infused with the world, the magic of the Fae, right? Just having lived there for so long, just began to have natural adaptations to what it was like living in the Fae. Especially under the Unseelie court and in those lands. That's cool. Winged yeah. Winged goblin. Love that. Okay, cool. All right, and then let's see, magic. Consider how important a role magic plays in the kingdom. How prevalent is it? Is it treated with awe and suspicion, or a shrug of the shoulders? Of course, if the kingdom is a magocracy, magic is certainly to play a major role, at least in the higher echelons of society. So here's some questions to ask. Are spells such as Arcane Lock, Mage Hand, and Mending in everyday use? I feel like this place is... I mean, it's like being so tied to the Fae. Like, I imagine there's, and like most of the people being Cytherians, right? Like, I mean, magic is like kind of a big, important part of their everyday lives and like who, like the way that they identify with each other and themselves. So, like, I'm gonna say, like, yeah, like cantrips, and teaching of minor magics is like common, and like a part of like teaching a child is also teaching them magic. Raising a child or teaching includes teaching them such skills. Can one buy permanent magic items in shops? I don't think it's like huge big like +3 stuff, but I think there's like minor magical trinkets are common and readily available. Most people have at least one. Do temples offer to heal people or resurrect the dead in exchange for donations? That's a good question. I don't think that there's a lot of I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of healing or raising of the dead. Yeah. Not healing isn't common. Healing and resurrection services aren't common, but chosen clerics among the Fae, chosen clerics, or chosen priests, clerics, do have some capabilities, though the costs to do so require making deals with with the Fae. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Yeah, you can heal and maybe you could get a resurrection, but you do have to make basically like a contract with the Fae in order to receive such services, because what's the Fae without a little give and take? How common is teleportation magic? Teleportation magic isn't common. Oh, there are some who seek such magic to return to the Fae. Excuse me. Hiccups. Okay. How easy is it for PCs to purchase potions and other consumable items? Easy to get potions and other consumables. Hold on. I gotta deal with these hiccups, girl. Okay. How superstitious are villagers living deep in the countryside? Do they treat fireball flinging adventurers with mistrust or fear, or do they burn would-be witches at the stake? I don't think they're they're superstitious in that they lived in the Fae, right? So there's like a lot of like, I don't trust this necessarily. Superstitious in that their customs and culture come from their experiences in the Fae. Magic is useful and powerful, but be wary of the intentions of those who use it. The temptation to hold control over another person becomes harder to hold back the more power one has. So there's like this general sense of magic is cool and useful, but always be wary of magic. Like there's like this very healthy hesitation and like reluctance where like, yeah, we use magic all the time, but we use magic that we know. We know what, like, I'm using my favorite magic item because I know how this works. If someone were to just give me one off the street, I would have to, like, I probably have my own way of like acclimating to it and like easing into using it, because you don't know if someone either made something that could potentially be dangerous or harmful to you either on purpose, on accident, or were given it. And like there's like, you just, that very healthy suspicion that comes from living with the Fae and being around the Fae of like, I just have to make, like, there are rules for things, and and a very healthy suspicion on how someone might be trying to use the rules for their own benefit in a way that's harmful to you. So very healthy superstitious beliefs, I think. Is magic something known only to a privileged few? Nah. Everyone has access to and the ability to everyone has access to the use of magic. Okay, cool. And then, are there wizards? Is there a wizards guild or other society of spellcasters? If so, is it a well-known organization or a secret cabal? No, no, I don't think so, because of how like much magic is in this community. Like I don't know if it has a need for just like a guild of wizards because it's like, also we said there aren't any. Oh, maybe there's like a circle of druids maybe who commune with the Fae. A circle of druids who commune with the Fae and natural world, and then also relay that information to the chosen representative. A grove of druids who commune with the Fae and the natural world, who then relay their interpretations and communications to the governing body. I like that. You don't have even though the governor doesn't have direct communication with the Fae, they have to go through this grove of druids who have to do like a bunch of ritualistic stuff to be able to even commune with the Fae, because the Fae are like that. But it also shows that they are willing to put in the effort to an intention into this, so that way the Fae can ensure a certain amount of loyalty and or control over these people because they're willing to go through it. Okay, cool. Okay, trade goods and then historical events. We're gonna make this roll 1d4 plus 1 times, so bare minimum we're gonna make it 2. We're making it 3 times, so these are the trade goods. Roll 1d 100. 37. Ooh, horses and mules is interesting. 32. Barley. Okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. For this. Okay, hold on. How about instead of. Okay, we're going to do horses and mules, weapons and armor, wine or brandy. Even the horses and the mules, what? This is what? We said this is mountainous and marshy? Right? Where do we put this? Are there mountainous horses? I imagine there are. Horses that live in mountains. Rocky Mountain horse. Do horses live in the Rocky Mountain? No, Rocky Mountain National Park is no, not that park. Rocky, the Kentucky Mountain Saddle Horse. Okay, so there are mountainous horses. Okay, cool. Plenty of mountainous horses. Okay, mountainous horses, weapons and armor, wine or brandy. Those are the things that they make, and those are the things that they trade. Ooh, I bet the Holy Marvellian Empire would love to get their hands on some wonderful, whatever the name of this place is. Okay, cool. Last thing we have here are the historical events. There's no requirement to spend hours writing a detailed timeline, but it's worth deciding on. Yeah, there are several breeds that were created for rugged ground. Okay, cool. Whether relatively recent or centuries past, these help to make the kingdom feel more real and help create a fun adventure possibilities. We're going to roll 1d12 and consult the historical events table, or choose something appropriate. It's worth deciding on one or two. So we're gonna do one for right now. We're just doing the one. Okay, 1d12. An 11. Hey. I'm sorry, you all can't see the thing that I'm looking at. So I rolled an 11. The Isonad, or Tarask, or an ancient red dragon, once laid waste to the kingdom. Now, I already said that this place was taken by a flood before, right? And that was like forever ago. Now, I'm trying to decide if this is a thing that I actually... Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on. You know what? I'm just going to choose one. We're going to choose an earthquake, flood, or other natural disaster cause people to lose faith in the gods. I think that there was a previous set of gods that once ruled over these people. The flood happened. As the flood was happening, they turned to the rulers of this kingdom, turned to the Fae, got everybody taken to the Fae. People figured out how they felt about that over the many years that had happened, so on and so forth. Boom, we're back. Okay. The world flood. Caused the kingdom to turn from the gods and seek refuge with the Fae. These once forgot what's the word that I'm looking for? Ruins and ruins of worship for these forgotten gods still dot the land. Cool. Love that. Amazing. Dragon attack destroyed. Destroyed the dikes. And then the flood came. Yeah. I'm liking this. I'm liking it a lot. You know, honestly, maybe it's both, right? Maybe it is the dragon as well. Maybe there was ancient red dragon. Or ancient, I don't know what kind of dragon. Ancient dragon. Wreaked. Wreaked? Is that the right word? Wrecked. Unleashed havoc. Havoc on the kingdom in the years before the flood, which shook the faith, the kingdom, in its efforts to rebuild. Then the world flood caused them to fully turn away from the gods and seek refuge in the Fae. I wonder if there were probably some Fae cults throughout that period of time that were just like growing in power as people were turning away from the gods and like the aftermath, wreaking havoc, because havoc reeks. Hey, thank you. We began to turn away from the gods. These Fae cults began to take hold, and by the time the world flood came, boom, perfect opportunity for the cults to go, hey, the Fae would save us. And then the people in power said, all right, let's give it a try. And it worked, for better or worse. Love it. Okay. We're not going to do the ruler right now. I've gone far over time. But this was great. This was absolutely amazing. Hey, Castles and Crowns, everyone. Within, what? Less than like an hour and a half or so, we basically have an entire kingdom. We don't have its ruler yet, but we know so much about its history, a little bit of like where it stands in the world. We know its climate, its geography, its demographics, and we started off with this with absolutely no idea of what this was going to be, and now we have a full kingdom, and that's thanks to campaign builder Castles and Crowns. This was super cool. I don't know the name of this kingdom yet, and I'll figure that out later. But this was super, super helpful, and something I will probably keep coming back to because this was just a lot of fun. So, super excited about that. All right, everybody, come on over here. No. Here we are. Thank you all so much for being here for another Kobold Chats. It's been me, Kendrick or Kendo, whichever you prefer. And I hope you all had a good time looking through that. And I hope you all think about getting Castles and Crowns, because honestly, like, this was so incredibly helpful as part of like the world building process, and it took so much off of my mind. I just had to read and follow the instructions, and like something that could have taken me like days to like try to come up with a new kingdom and like banging my head against the walls trying to make decisions. I can roll on the table, and then in that moment I can decide, is this right? Maybe this isn't right, or I didn't think about that, let's try that, and you can see the results. So everybody go get Castles and Crowns. It's so cool. And yeah, next week, I'm on vacation. I'll be on vacation for most of next week, so I will not be here for Kobold Chats next week. Zach will more than likely take my place, but I will see you the week after. And I'm looking forward to that. What are we going to cover then? Who's to say? I don't know, but we'll figure out when the time comes. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you same time in 2 weeks. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to go out, eat enough food, drink enough water, get enough sleep, and take care of yourself, because self-care is very important, especially in the times we're living in right now. And don't forget to love yourself and everyone around you. We'll see ya.